talk about the publication that you write for. I've written in publications, but it was never a heavy metal publication. I did with classic cars, but as a writer, tell me more a little bit about the magazine or the publication that you write for.
Okay, I write for Heart of Hollywood magazine, and it's a fashion, movie industry, music industry, entertainment industry magazine based here, obviously in Hollywood.
Sure.
And my wife is a professional photographer, and she started shooting for them a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just starting out. And the CEO, Giovanna, told Claudia, because Claudia told her I was a writer. I'm a retired English teacher. And Claudia said, yeah, my husband's a writer, and he's sitting on his ass all day doing nothing. Do you need writers? And she said, sure. And I said, okay, what do I write about? And she said, anything you want to. And I went, okay. And I just went to a Metal Hall of Fame event. So I wrote that up. And that got over 1,000 views, which is like 5 times more than any other article there, blew the staff away. And that pretty much gave me carte blanche. So I'm like one of the few writers that I can publish my own shit. It doesn't need to go through approval. It doesn't go to an editor desk, nothing.
Right.
And I just do heavy metal, and there is a community here in LA, and obviously, the world, it just doesn't get a lot of attention, especially in LA. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of fell into it, and I got lucky. My first article was on Twisted Sister's induction, so that's why it was so huge. Mm-hmm. Because Mike Portnoy was playing drums with them that night at the Canyon Club.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So how did you get into this music? Like, what were some of the bands that you first discovered? What were some of your first shows that you went to, as a metal fan?
Well, so 1978, I'm 11 years old, and my brother's 13, and he comes home one night from a friend's house with the double album, We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll. Mm-hmm. It was one of those, here, Brett, you have to listen to this. And so I look at the cover and I go, yeah, that's cool. I open it up and I go, holy fuck, that's really cool. Then you put it on, and the first song, Black Sabbath, right? I get chills now, man.
Yeah.
And so that one just totally changed everything for me. 6 months later, that was my first concert, the Never Say Die tour, mm-hmm. With Van Halen opening. I was 11 and a half, almost 12 years old. That was my very first rock concert. Mm-hmm. I've seen Black Sabbath 13 times, every lineup, except for the Ray Gillen shows, but they just did a few up there in your neck of the woods, right in the East Coast there and up in Canada.
Yeah.
So they're my favorite band, obviously, still to this day. Though my favorite guitar player is Jimmy Page.
Sure. So
go figure. And then I got into thrash, Metallica and Megadeth and those dudes in college. I don't like glam or hair metal. I don't think metal's supposed to be happy. It's not, dude. It's not supposed to be happy. So that stuff's hard rock. It's not their fault they got categorized as metal. That was the media. Because Poison's not heavy metal, dude. They're hard rock. So anyway, so those, yeah, I like everything except for rap and country. I love the music and death metal and stuff like that. I just don't like the vocals.
With glam stuff, I've never really been a big fan myself.
Just don't get me wrong. You take like CC DeVille, dude. That dude fucking shreds the guitar. Mm-hmm. I mean, he fucking shreds. I just don't like the music coming out of his amp.
Right. No, I gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm not a big Halloween fan either.
So, like, Black Sabbath is your favorite band of all time, correct?
Yes, correct.
So, you know what? One of the things that I've loved, and, I love Black Sabbath. Tony Iommi is probably on my Mount Rushmore of, like, guitar players.
For sure.
The thing is, all of these box sets they've released, these super deluxe box sets for a lot of these records, man, I have gone crazy for those. So, just got the Tony Martin one, which I absolutely love.
God, yeah.
So I got to ask you, I'll ask you your opinion. What do you think about the remix of Forbidden?
Have
you heard it?
I did. I have a couple times actually. When the album came out, my friend had it, and I remember listening to it the day he bought it
Mm-hmm.
and going, because he had some rap in there, and I was so anti-rap, and I pretty much tuned it out from then on.
Yeah.
All right. And then he's coming out with the release and stuff. And I was talking to my friend Giles again, and Giles Lavery is like, no, Brett, really, you got to give that a second listen.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the remix came out, I did. And yeah, it's a great album. I mean, it really is. I think Tony Martin is just in the groove, in the zone on that album. His vocals are so amazing.
Yep.
And it really demonstrates his range. I mean, he's just, yeah, it's a great album. You know, yeah, I can get through 20 seconds of rap. I'm cool.
You know, the crazy thing is, I remember when that came out, and I was in high school at the time, right? I just graduated. And I remember getting that record, and I was like highly disappointed at the time. And to be honest, I didn't really listen to it up until this box set came out. It was kind of one of those things where I'm kind of like, I forgot about the record.
Right.
And then
yeah.
when Sabbath was putting out these big box sets, like for Paranoid and for Volume 4, I went out and bought all those, all the super deluxe stuff, or the deluxe versions of them. And so when this Anno Domini came out and I heard about Forbidden, I got to go back and listen to that album, and that way I can compare the remix. And I think that when I listen to it again musically, I'm like, you know, I really didn't like this album back then, but I'm liking it better.
Yeah.
And then when I heard the remix, I'm like, wow, he really improved it. Except, and it was funny because you spoke of Giles about 30 seconds after he posted it, the keyboard part in the title track, I was really disappointed that was gone. But
yes,
other than that, I think he really improved the mix. Obviously, Tony Iommi did. I think Tony Martin's vocals sound better in the mix than they did before. But I just remember listening to that, and these songs are coming back to me. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, why did I not like this album back then? You know, it was just, it's weird because I loved Cross Purposes.
Yeah, hell yeah. But I think it was because we both fell into that, you know, that peer pressure shit where it was cool to dislike it.
Yeah.
You know, it was cool. It was cool to go, oh, it's got rap in it. Fuck it. You know, I mean, seriously.
I think for me, I loved Cross Purposes so much at the time that when that record came out, I was highly disappointed because I had these huge expectations for this next Sabbath record. And then I was like, you went from Cross Purposes to this. That's how I felt at the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I loved, like I said, I loved the Dehumanizer. You know, I loved,
it's an amazing album.
You know, I loved Tear. I loved Headless Cross. So I love all these records. And I'm thinking this next Sabbath album is going to be phenomenal. Then I was kind of like, okay. and now I revisit it. I like the album a lot better.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'm afraid that he's going to remaster Born Again. Okay. Because for me, Born Again is mixed and produced perfectly because it sounds like my favorite band of all time is a garage band. And it's so raw and it's so full of energy and power.
Yeah.
Then I'm afraid he's going to refine it and you're going to lose that.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that album. They did a deluxe version of it.
Yeah.
And I remember getting it, and now I don't remember anything about it because I don't even think I listened to the second CD. You know, it's one of those things, you get it. You know, the album was okay. And it's funny, you mentioned Born Again. If you go on YouTube and look at old concerts of Ian Gillan singing Sabbath songs, he really does a great job on them. I mean, like,
dude,
like
I
all
saw
the
that
Ozzy
tour.
stuff. Yeah. I mean, the Ozzy stuff that he's singing, it's like, wow, this guy sounds really good on those songs. And
yeah, it was amazing.
And I was too young to be able to go see that show. And going on YouTube and hearing him live with the band, he sounded pretty good. You know?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: favorite Black Sabbath album and least favorite Black Sabbath album. What would they be?
My favorite, Sabotage.
Okay.
And my least favorite. Wow, that really sucks, dude. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
Probably Never Say Die.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, for me, it's either that album or Technical Ecstasy. It's
yeah,
one of
well,
those two.
and again, everyone rips on those two albums too, right?
Mhm.
But dude, fucking smoke a bowl and sit down and listen to them and really get into them. Okay.
Well,
Um,
when I say least favorite, I'm not saying they
right.
are bad.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like going least favorite, dude. I don't know if I can do that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'd say Never Say Die. Probably more because of that concert I saw.
Hmm.
All right. Now, at the time when I saw it at 11 and a half, my first concert, I thought it was fucking, heaven,
Hmm.
right? They were gods. It was awesome. It was perfect. It was unreal. Well, flash forward to seeing not only Black Sabbath 12 other times, but 100 other concerts in between.
Hmm.
And you look back at that tour and you go, no, they sucked. Okay. The discomfort, the anger between the band members was palpable in the audience.
Yeah.
And so that probably influences my reaction to the album as well.